Ohai. Sochi, the city in Russia, is located on the northeast coast of the Black Sea. The Black Sea coast of Russia. In Krasnodar Krai, a distance of 16-15 km from Moscow. Administrative center of the municipal unit resort town of Sochi. Sochi, the largest resort of Russia, the important transport hub and also the large economic and cultural center of the Black Sea coast of Russia. Unofficial hereinafter is referred to as also summer, southern and resort capital of Russia. In 2012, the Forbes magazine recognized Sochi the best city for business in the country. In 2007, Sochi is elected the capital of 22 Winter Olympic Games. On September 15, 2009, Sochi entered into the World Alliance of the Olympic Cities. During preparation for the Olympic Games, spent 32.49 billion rubles, of which private investments made 221 billion for development of the city and its infrastructures. In 2018, the city hosted matches of the FIFA World Cup. Etymology. The posset formed in 1869 already had the name Sochi. The name Sochi belongs to the city and the river flowing into the Black Sea in the central district of the city of Sochi. The wide range of variations of a toponym and respectively a gudronym by Sochi in various sources is noted. Sochi, Socha and Sukhali. Sasha, Sacha and Zusha at Bol. To Sochi or Sasha. Sochi, Sasha and Sashipsa. Svesha. River. And Saj in other sources, Shash, Shach, Saships. According to Gabi H.S. In the Ubykh language, the name of the river of Sochi sounded as Shach, and in Abkhazian, Shak. But for the first time, local names, ethnonyms, are mentioned at Evliya Çelebi, the Turkish traveler who in 1641 describes the tribe of Sach. Nearby mentions the tribe rolling up. Velisky 5. M. Identifies the name Sach and Sudha and writes that the natural boundary Sudha unites the Shlabastaga on the right coast of the river of Sochi is slightly higher Pristya. Apparently, the lower part of the valley of a stream of Ladovsky, right inflow of the river of Sochi. River Hakaka. Stream Vereskaginka. Soshepa or Sohopa River. Nalushka. The Ols of Iolana in upper courses of the Sohopa and Bugu rivers. Flavicols Arian in 137 on the place of the modern river of Sochi, the Masatika River, and Pseudo-Aryan in the 5th century writes about the Mastaik River. In these the most ancient names of the modern river of Sochi known to us, we have apparently a two-member basis and Sati networks. And the second route is very conformable with a toponym of Sochi. Its similarity will be even more complete if to consider that in the Latin alphabet there is no letter for designation of a sound H, and it could be designated through differ by T. The first part of this name, Asakuzits, is close to Odg and Ubykh Mia. Me. Apple tree. Ethnonyms of Sochi and Sach in many historical sources are used as synonyms. Their interpretation can be carried out on the basis of lexicon of the Ubykh language. The ethnonym of Sochi has no translation, but its synonym of Sach is very close to Shecha in sea value and by the sea. There is a basis to believe that this term formed far back in the past a basis for the name and the self-name of the tribe, Sach at seaside. Living by the sea. The tribe. An ethnonym of Sach, changing within centuries, to the middle of the 19th century was fixed. Having a little transformed behind the Abazan tribe of Sads. Digits. Occupying until the end of the Caucasian War. 1864. The coast between Costa and Gagra, and the Abiko-Abazan tribe of Sachet living in a shore of Entre Rios of Sochi Costa. C in Abik Shah, the reduced form from Shecha, C. Possibly, and the subsequent names of Sochi and Sochi are the Abazan option from Abik, Sachet, in the same value, living by the sea. The ethnonym Sasha, Sochi gave the name to the river and the settlement in its mouth. Marks out Shens. D.
Analytic that Sochi in Abkhazian sounds as Shvaj, and assumes that this lost personal or patrimonial name. However, Abkhazians called Abazans of an Ashchu and Ashva, that is in the Abkhazian name of the river of Sochi Shvacha we see a basis seems Shua in Abazan's value.
According to the Sochi local historian 5. M. The syllable, is characteristic of the end of the Abkhazian and Abazan place names of mountains, rivers, settlements. Apparently, the syllable, purchased value of a suffix of accessory. Place. So, in the Adigi language the word shape is translated just like place. In the case Abkhazian Shvach it is literally translated as, the place of Abazans, and for the river. Valley of the Abazans. Hey. Gordon remembers Abazinsky Boulevard in Sochi at the beginning of the 20th century. On the plan of Sochi attached to G. Moskvich's Guide. 1912. On the place of modern Kubanskaya Street. Abazanskaya Street. Is shown if to consider that the ethnonym of an Abazes comes from Abik bees, that is, living at water, by the sea. Then we come besides to a conclusion, as that interpretation of a toponym of Sochi on the basis of the Abik language. Such convergence of the translations in two different, but related languages of the people, long time living in the neighborhood, cannot be accidental and demonstrates correctness of application of methods of historical ethnography and comparative linguistics, at identification of etymology of toponyms on the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus. Helmwait, listing the Circassian breeding and patrimonial names, mentions the family of free farmers Sashik Kor living to the south of Ordain. The famous Kabardian ethnographer and the historian of the middle of last century Shens. B. Nogmev, based on legends, wrote about the ancestor of the Kabardian princes Inal that he arrived in Kabarda from the Black Sea coast where the Abazan Ash and Shash used its special protection. 50. 1. Lavrov connects these names with the Abkhazian princely surnames of Achba and Chachba. Comparing Shens. D.
Analyuk's remarks on a possibility of preserving in the name Sochi of a patrimonial name. Lavrov provides the certificate of a Beduk of Lax Hoko Alkas that Beduk remember division them on two potlamen.
Hamishevitz, Hamishia, and Cherkanevitz. And that and others, according to the legend, lived in vicinities of present Sochi earlier. About society Hamish, on the place of her. Hosts in 1835 ff. Torno wrote, Nantakan on Dorovatovsky's card. 1911. Was called Hamashokan. Let's pay attention and to similarity of an ethnonym of Chechnya and the Abkhaz-Abazan versions of the name Sochi. Shok and Chach.
The given parallels confirm the probability of an ethnonicheski basis of a toponym of Sochi once again.
The interesting etymology is offered by M.K. Teshuv. Sochi on Hokochinsky is called Shak in Shapsig Shash. At the same time, Teshuv considers a Kuchinsky option borrowed from Ubik and translates on the basis of the Ubik language. She head che sell, that is, sell the head, or the place where the head people is sold. At the same time, che in on Hokochinsky means sell. The Shapsig option of a toponym Shash is the same translation from the Ubik. Sheet head and chaps. Sheet sell. That is the place where the head people is sold. Conditions of emergence of such name do not contradict the known historic facts. The slave trade on the Black Sea coast existed prior to the beginning of the 19th century. Zaleski provides data from Shens. Chuko's article in the Sochi newspaper Krasnoznamya of March 27, 1960 that one of forms of the name of the river of Sochi, Chai. In historical sources the unknown. According to Shens, Chuko, in the old Shapsig dialect of a Shah, brother, and whose, without, that is, the river without inflow, means. However, such translation belongs to a sample of national etymologies.
If to translate from the Shapsig dialect, then it is necessary to proceed also from the Shapsig versions of the name.
Ureseshi, Shash, Svesha. Besides the river of Sochi already in the mouth is the right inflow with the wide valley, Ladovsky stream. Shlabastaga. Without speaking about others. M5. Zaleski reports also that the wrong opinion, based on similarity of sounding, that the name Sochi is connected with the Adigi name of horse races, so-called Shach. Actually on the Adi was widespread among the Black Sea Shapsigs. Dumps Shikjachi, which were performed before on the extensive plain left priest to the rivers of Sochi. I.A. Dovabakvili in 1939 translated the name Sochi on the basis of Georgian as fur.
In 1956 Anchabadze and Bazbado repeated that the name Socha in the form of Socha really in Georgian is meant by fur, but assumed that it is derivative of the Abkhazian Ubik form of Shich, which is the ethnic name of one of divisions of the Ubik tribe.
Zaleski in 1966 after Anchabadze and H.S. Hasboy, challenging the Adigi options of etymology, relying on big actual material, reasonably claims that the geographical term Sochi is, first of all, derivative of the name of the tribe of the Ubik nationality, which had own language with an independent grammatical system. Many authors known in a type Sasha, Shash, Shach, Saj, Shich. Some make etymology of the word Sochi from Adi set that means I give, I present. In the Adi language the word Shak remained without phonetic changes. Shapsigs in the city of Sochi call today Shach. This city is located about 43 degrees of northern latitude, that is approximately at the geographic latitude of Nice, Almaty, Toronto and Vladivostok. Coordinates of the city of Sochi. The main post office. -43 AN, 39 AEL. Natural borders of the city are fixed by the decree of Presidium of the Supreme Council of Rusfers of February 11, 1961. From the southwest the Black Sea. From the east the Poo River and riverheads of Mamta. From the north the main and water-separate ridges of Western Caucasus. From the west entre rios of the rivers of Magri and Chepsy. Behind it, the territory of Tuapsinski district and the city of Tups. The major factors attracting vacationers in Sochi. Warm subtropical climate. The sea, mineral sources, proximity of mountains, the developed tourist and recreational infrastructure. The virgin colchis forests of Western Caucasus in the territory of the city. Caucasus Biosphere Reserve are entered in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. Extent of the city of Sochi along the Black Sea coast. From the northwest on the southeast. About 99 km, the total length of the city district of Sochi, including all four areas and the part of the water area of the Black Sea carried to the district -140 km. Across the territory the resort town of Sochi exceeds 28 states, including, for example, such country as Luxembourg. The square of settlements in all districts of the city makes Sochi 176.77 km. Total area within the city district of the resort town of Sochi -3506 km. From the total area of the resort town of 3502 km, 81% are the share of especially protected areas and objects. The Caucasian State Biosphere Nature Reserve, the Sochi All-Republican State Natural Wildlife Area, Sochi National Park. More than 80% of the territory of the city are occupied by vegetation which is provided in the wide range of high-rise zonality. From subtropical forests to glacial highlands. Under the settlements located in the territory of the resort town 8.1% of land fund of the city are necessary. The forest land occupies 6.2%, agricultural purpose -4.2%, the industry, power, transport, communication -0.3% and the earth of water fund -0.3% of land fund. Sochi is in our zone Moscow time. Moscow time. Shift of the applied time concerning Utes is +3:00. The velvet season in Sochi. Coastal part of the city of Sochi, as well as all side of the Russian Black Sea coast to the south of Tups, it is located in a zone of humid subtropics. That strongly distinguishes this region from more northern side of the coast from Anapa to Tups where the typical moist Mediterranean climate dominates. The territory of the resort town of Sochi covers the most part of the southern slope of the Caucasus from the coast of the Black Sea to tops of Greater Caucasus range up to 3,500 meters high above sea level. Therefore in Sochi it is possible to allocate several climatic zones. A coastal zone up to 200 meters above sea level. 450-200 meters wide. Foothill zone 201, 600 meters above sea level. Mountain zone, 1001, 1700 meters above sea level. An alpine area, 1701, 1800 meters above sea level. Have a considerable impact on climate of Sochi DC. In the summer from it more cool, in the winter it warms. And mountains protect from cold norths. Climate very damp, especially along the coast. A similar climate is observed in the neighboring Abkhazia and also in the southeast of the USA. States Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. The maximum of rainfall fall on a winter time frame of year, mainly in the form of a rain, is more rare, snow. The winter is warm, summer hot and damp. Thanks to proximity of the sea, high summer temperatures are a little adjusted towards lowering and are favorable for the nature and the person. The similar type of climate is suitable for any growth of subtropical and moderate cultures. Sochi is located on northern border of subtropics. In the winter frosts and snowfalls are occasionally possible here, but on the coast of city line they happen extremely seldom and keep within the first half of May, the second half of October, long climate 2 C. Maximum plus 30.1 C. In turn are administratively subordinated to intracity areas 1 settlement and 11 rural districts, being in limits of borders of the city of Sochi. Location of areas: Adlersky district, from the Poo River to the river Kudepsta. Kostinsky district, from the river Kudepsta to the Vereskaginka river. The Central district, from the Vereskaginka river to the village of Sergipol. Lazarevsky district, from the village of Sergipol to the settlement of Magri. Except Adler, 1 settlement and 3 rural districts are subordinated to Adlersky intracity district. Krasnaya Polyana. In the Central intracity district neither rural. On April 13. Early history. On the basis of similarity of the most ancient of silicon tools, known in the Caucasian Black Sea coast, it is supposed that the first people got into vicinities of Sochi through cultures from Asia Minor 350,000 years ago, that is during an era earliest Hoya. The most ancient traces of dwelling of the person are found in the neighborhood of Kosta, a left bank and right bank part of Nizovia of Mamta and on a right bank of Poo. The best known parking of the Stone Age, Akhtarskaya cave occupied 250,000 years ago. Tribes of the Makok culture which was changed by the Dolmen culture which existed here more than 1,000 years lived in the 3rd millennium here B.C. From here, according to the Assyrian sources of the 8th, 7th centuries BB, Sumerians came to the countries of Western and Asia Minor. Colchis. The 12th century BB was the earliest state education in the territory Gagra. Ancient Colchis was located along the east coast of the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus, occupying the Colchis lowland and adjacent areas. Folk were the main population of the state and historic area. In 335 BB Pseudoskilic, one of the most ancient antique geographers, calls the tribes of Ashians and Heniokas living on the coast from modern Galenzik to Great Dioscorea. The Greek colonization of the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus began approximately in the 6th, 5th centuries BB with the advent of city-states which actively traded with Heniokas. Approximately in the 85th year BB, tribes of Heniochus and Colchis get under dependence of the Pontic kingdom.
In the 74th year BB, Heniochus performed as allies of the Tsar of the Pontic kingdom Mithridat VI of Pater in war with Rome.
In the 66th year BB, Peresimov of Indios Kuriada, Mithridat VI of Pater passed through the earth of the Heniochus, who friendly accepted it of Ascians, having put to flight in pursuit. In the I-5 centuries there takes place the Roman colonization of the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus.
In the 1st century the geographer of antiquity Strabo mentions in the description of coast of the Black Sea Kiev, Zik and the Heniochus living on the coast from modern Gelendzик, Tups to modern Adler, Pitsunda.
According to Strabo, Heniochus were known to a classical antiquity as pirates. Aristotle claimed that Heniochus were cannibals. Early Middle Ages.
After a number of wars of Byzantium with Persia in general for Byzantium unsuccessful, the Emperor Justinian managed to sign the agreement under which Western Caucasus departed under influence of the Byzantine power in 562.
Military, cultural influence of Byzantium on the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus began.
The national legend attributes to Justinian Christianization, though in fact it occurred slightly earlier.
So the name of the Bishop of Zik Damian is available among signatures of the Constantinople Cathedral of 526. At the beginning of the 9th century, Agrisilazika together with the amplified Abazjaya formed the Abkhazian kingdom. According to the Georgian chronicles, the Tsar Leon II divided the kingdom into 8 principalities. Actually, Abkhazia to Chumi, Bidaya, Guria, Rachin-Lek Chumi, Svaneti, Argveti and Kutaisi, Sochi was in limits of an Aristostvo of Abkhazia. The period of the strongest direct Byzantine impact on the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus proceeded with 6 before the beginning of the 8th century. In the second half of the 8th century, having kept the political influence, Byzantium nevertheless was forced to recognize the Abkhazian kingdom. In 844 Byzantium, trying to return domination over the Abkhazian kingdom, directed by sea numerous troops. But the Byzantine fleet even before disembarkation was frayed by a storm, and the reached coast of army got beaten, having lost in total up to 40,000 people. After the Byzantium stopped trying to enslave the Abkhazian kingdom. To the middle of the 10th century. The Abkhazian kingdom reaches the greatest expansion of the borders. It covers all western and considerable part of East Georgia, and in the north stretches along the Black Sea coast up to the district of modern Anapa. In the lower Kartli it reached the city of Samshvili and also subdued the southern part of Tauklodeti. Since 1008 the Abkhazian kingdom is transformed to the uniform Georgian kingdom. In the 11th, 13th centuries in Georgia there is a cultural rise. This time of David of the Builder. 1089-1125. Time of further active construction of temples both in Georgia and in Black Sea coast. George and the Queen Tamara. 1184-1212. Rusidin. 1212-1227. Tried to strengthen the influence among Adi distribution of Christianity. The name of the Queen Tamara was extraordinarily popular among all mountaineers of the Caucasus. A part of Adi in the religious relation was subordinated to the Georgian Church. The Basilica. The rectangular building extended from the west on the east.
In the territory of state-formed southern cultures, in Adler destroyed in 1954 at construction of a water supply system was the earliest temple in the territory of Sochi.
It is presumably constructed in the 6th century. The monument was surveyed at different times by candidates of historical sciences 50
N. Soloviev and N. 5.
Anfimov. The earliest objects allowing to date a monument, pre-altar plates with a carving on two parties. On one party of 8 plate crosses with almost equal ends, in a form similar of excavation of the Pitsunda temple are cut up. On the basis of this similarity 50 N. Soloviev dated back monument construction time to the 6th century.
Its determination is confirmed by it also to those that crosses are taken in a rhombic frame and the fact that marble slabs are made of the Constantinople marble.
Most actively construction of temples was developed in the 10th-12th centuries. It coincided with peak of development of the Byzantine Empire and over time formations of the centralized state in Georgia. Blossoming of caravan trade in the Caucasus falls on the same period. Quite often researchers of history of Christianity in the Caucasus point to proximity of temples and monasteries to important tradeways, Provalny tracts. In Sochi carry temples in Kosta to the 11th, 12th centuries, forest, chestnuts, Lu, on Mount Akan, at the foot of a hill Yefrem and others. The temple, most remote from the coast, in Deep Jara was surrounded with a powerful fortification that probably demonstrates that more deeply two mountains treated Christians not quite kindly. Soon after separation of churches in the Caucasus, Catholic missionaries appear
to replace Byzantines in the 13th and 14th centuries. The Genoese owning a number of trading stations on the coast of the Black Sea come.
Hoffa in the Crimea becomes the center of their activity. The Kafinsky prefect Ascoli sent to Adi of the missionary D. of D. Luque. The Genoa colonization also had some impact on the Black Sea coast of the Caucasus.
In general, the medieval history Sochi is studied extremely poorly and not enough.
Transition period. To the second half of the 19th century in the territory of Greater Sochi, from Vardain to the river Kudepsta, the aggressive Caucasian people, Ubiks lived. Their number, by various calculations, was 150,000 people. The cattle breeding, agriculture, gardening, a slave trade, piracy were their major activity. As a result of the Russian-Turkish War of 1828-1829 under the Adrianople Peace Treaty to the Russian Empire, all east coast of the Black Sea departs from the Kuban River to St. Nicholas Pier, including the district of modern Sochi.
For the purpose of suppression of sale to mountaineers of weapon and determination of a slave trade in the borders of the Russian Empire established by the Adrianople Peace Treaty on the coast established strengthenings of the Black Sea coastline. After the successful actions of the Prince Baryatinsky for conciliation of mountaineers of Western Caucasus for all region, the movement of muajirs was developed. Propagandists from among fanatical Islamic clergy urged mountaineers to move to the Edinoverchesky Ottoman Empire. The population of all Western Caucasus became result of it. The population of Central and East Caucasus Mountains and the Crimea was considerably reduced. To Turkey went the whole Auls. Resettlement had spontaneous character. The considerable number of immigrants during it died. Now, by approximate calculations, in Turkey there are about 500,000 descendants of Caucasian muajirs, and is as much again scattered over the countries of the Middle East and Maghreb.
On June 24. On July
1861 Alexander II published the rescript addressed to the Nakazny Ataman of the Cuban Cossack army of the General A.D. Camp of Dokimov, in whom he very accurately designated a course towards complete exile of in Pacific Circassians and annexation of their country.
Alexander wrote in the rescript: "Nowadays, with the gods' help, business of complete conquest of the Caucasus close already to determination.
There were several years of persistent efforts absolutely to force out hostile mountaineers from the fertile countries occupied by them and forever to install on these last the Russian Christian population."
Modern times. The city of Sochi is founded on April 21. On May 1838 is a Fort Alexandria in the territory of present Sochi during the Caucasian War, strengthening of the Holy Spirit. In 1837, they laid foundation to future Adler. Forts Lazarevsky and Golovinsky. 1839. Who became subsequently the settlements of Lazarevsky and Golovinka are also based. The purpose of strengthenings, suppression of a slave trade and illicit sale to mountaineers of weapon. In 1839 the Fort Alexandria is renamed into Novojinsky Fort. During the Crimean War, garrisons on the coast took out to Novorossiysk as the Anglo-French squadron under command of the Admiral Edmund Lyons entered the Black Sea. In 1864 strengthening is built up anew as the post Tukovsky. Since 1874 Tukovsky posted, since 1896 Sochi, by the name of the river of Sochi, on which coast there was a posset. 15. The first bathing building on Matsesta is opened on September 28, 1902. Since December 28, 1905. On January 10, 1906. Years on 5 on January 18, 1906 there was the Sochi Republic. 14. The first resort, the Caucasian Riviera, is open on June 27, 1909, that it is considered the beginning of Sochi as resort. On April 23. On May 1913, at the initiative of the Russian writer P.A. Rossiev, the 75th summer anniversary for the first time celebrated day of foundation of Sochi. To this memorial at the expense of the Colonel 50. F. Delinsky near Library of A.S. Pushkin, the monument was established. In 1917 Sochi was given the status of the city. In the years of civil war the city alternately turned out under the power of Bolsheviks, Tinikhinets, the Georgian Menshevist government, Committee of Liberation of Black Sea Coast. Vreen.
Preserving of the city of Sochi as a part of Russia de facto, result of fighting of parts of volunteer army of the General A.
1. Denikin in the fall of 1918, winter of 1919, which won the city of Sochi, Adler, Gagra, all coastal territory occupied in the spring of 1918 by Georgia during the Sochi conflict. In April 1920 the Soviet power was established. After civil war considerable attention is paid to development of resort matter in Sochi. On June 20, 1934 the Presidium of Vievek decided to include suburban settlements in city line of Sochi. Aredu, Lower Spacious, New Sochi and Soboliotka with the land surrounding them collective farms. Name of Bugini, Red Seed Grower and Lower Spacious. Agricultural Atoll of Ogpu Holiday House, land plot of agricultural plant of Lenin and Sochi fruit experimental station of subtropical cultures. 3.
In withdrawal from the current legislation to allocate Sochi an independent administrative unit with subordination of the Sochi City Council to directly Azovo-Chernomorski Krayspolki.
4.
Due to the allocation of Sochi an independent administrative unit to transfer the center of the Sochi district to the settlement of Adler with preserving of the former name of the area.
In the 30s, the new stage in the history of the city begins. In 1933, the government approved the first master plan of reconstruction of the Sochi Metsesta Kurorty district.
In 1934, general reconstruction of Sochi Metsesta resort under the leadership of Alexander Denisovich Metelyev begins.
The Riviera Metsesta Highway, later Stalinsky Avenue, nowadays Kurorty Avenue, became an axis of the project. New sanatoria, Institute of Balneology, theaters, other infrastructure are created. Dakas for heads of the state are under construction. In 1934, at the initiative of the People's Commissar K. Voroshilov, construction on the project of M. 1. Mirzanov, the personal architect I. 5. Stalin giving Bocharev Ruche, nowadays the official residence of the President of Russia, began. For I. 5. Stalin 4 Dakas, from most of which often visited New Metsesta, which is also constructed on Mirzanov's projector built. Now in its former cinema hall, the museum. Since 1937, Sochi is a part of Krasnodar Krai. On the eve of the Great Patriotic War in Sochi, 61 health resorts functioned. On their base in December 1941, 51 hospitals are open. In total, in the territory of Sochi in days of the Great Patriotic War, 111 hospitals worked. On August 27, 1948, Sochi becomes the city of Republican subordination, and on June 3, 1958 returns to category of cities of regional subordination. At the same time, Sochi kept the geographical telephone code separate of other Krasnodar Krai. The territory of the city of Sochi is considerably expanded by the decree of Presidium of the Supreme Council of Rusfers in 1961 due to inclusion in structure of the resort town Adler and Lazarevsky of areas. The resort was stretched on the coast from the settlement of Magri on border with Tuksinsky district to the Poo River, across which at the time there passed the border with the Georgian Ser. 4 administrative regions of the city of Sochi, Central, Kosta, Adler and Lazarevsky are created. On April 19, 1993, according to the resolution of Council of Ministers of the Russian Federation, the resort town of Sochi acquires the status of the resort of federal importance. In the 2010 years of Sochi purchases functions of the second capital, thanks to frequent stay in the city of the President of Russia and a set of the taking place international meetings and sports competitions. From subordinates, the urban type settlement series, which is going to be separated from Sochi, was allocated on February 1, 2020 to Adlersky district of Sochi of territories in Ameritinsky Valley, and to allocate to the new municipal unit series with the status of the city district. Mayors of Sochi. 1 Karpov, Nikolai Ivanovich is elected December 1991, 2000 on elections of the mayor, the first in the history of Sochi, on December 1, 1996.
2 Achievement, Leonid Arkadievich is elected 2001-2003 in the second round of elections on May 13, 2001.
3 Kolodiani, Viktor Viktorovich 2004 on April 17, 2008 is elected on April 25, 2004. 4 Afanasenkov, Vladimir Nikolaevich on June 29, 2008 on October 30. 2008 on April 16, on June 29, 2008 the acting mayor. Achuv Jambalat Hazirovich on October 30, 2008 on January 20, 2009 temporarily fulfilled the mayor's duties. 5 Pakamov Anatoly Nikolaevich on May 12, 2009 on September 9, 2019 on January 20, on May 12, 2009 the acting mayor. 1 Elections on April 26, took the oath and entered a position on May 12. 6 Kopegorodsky, Alexei Sergeyevich on September 11, 2019 on September 9, on September 11, 2019 the acting mayor.
It is elected deputies of a city meeting of Sochi on September 10, entered a position on September 11. Population of the municipal unit the resort town of Sochi minus 518,589 people. 2021. Including urban population minus 432,322 people. 2021. On population of Sochi takes the 6th place among the cities of the Southern Federal District, after Rostov-on-Don. 1,137,704. Volgograd. 1,004,763. Krasnodar. 948,827. Astrakhan. 524,371. Sevastopol. 436,670. And the 44th place in Russia. Among the cities on the Black Sea of Sochi till 2014 took the 3rd place on number of inhabitants, conceding to Odessa and Samsun and advancing Sevastopol, Trabzon and Varna a little. In city administration of Sochi there are alternative estimates of population of Sochi based on the analysis of amounts of consumption in housing and communal services of water and the electric power, the number of appeals to polyclinics and the number of school students. According to these estimates, not during a peak summer resort season and in an interseasonal part of year the population of Sochi exceeds 600,000 people. Its city administration connects the similar growth of the population not so much with growth of birth rate how many with resettlement on the permanent residents from other parts of Russia. The city administration believes the growth of the population by 200,000 people happened after 2012 when the population of Sochi was about 400,000 inhabitants. For January 1, 2021 on population the city was in the 46th place from 1116 cities of the Russian Federation. For January 1, 2018 Sochi is the 5th most populated among the cities which are not the centers of the subject. After Togliatti, Novokuznetsk, Nabrzhny Chalny and Balashikha. National structure. According to the All-Russian Census of 1897, 1352 persons including on the native language. Russians 532, 38%. Ukrainians 269, 20%. Mingrelians minus 163, 12%. Armenians minus 81, 6%. The Turk minus 74, 5.5%. Georgians 57, 4%.
Germans minus 53.4%. The others. Greeks 26. Persians 27. Belarusians 21. Jews 13. Minus 10.5% lived in Sochi. At the same time, in the territory of the Sochi district of the Black Sea province, 13,153 persons lived. National structure of the city of Sochi according to a census of 2010. Nationalities numbering over 100 people are given. Acting as the center of the Russian Black Sea coast, the city of Sochi concentrates human, investment, financial, intellectual and other types of resources. In the city, a considerable part of investments on which share, in Krasnodar Krai, it concedes only to Krasnodar, is concentrated. All these factors affected that around Sochi there was an agglomeration. The central district and Adler are most developed. Directly city. Central district. Concentrates human resources. Streams of pendular labor migration in the center, the permanent phenomenon. 32% of inhabitants of Sochi, here extremely dense population, live in the area. If in Lazarevsky district 53 people/came, then in central minus 43 people/came. Offices, banks, administrative agencies, large hotels, the enterprises, tourist and recreational and health resort, scientific and educational institutions are concentrated here. According to researchers, the Sochi agglomeration in a certain measure is already put in polycentric. It has 4 centers of gravity. Using transport availability and also such criteria as the main criterion as population, the developed production communications, availability of the territories having recreational potential mark out structure of the Sochi city agglomeration in structure. Population of the districts of Sochi. 1 central district as kernel of agglomeration 183,241. 2 Adlersky district 136,578. 3 Lazarevsky district 96177. 4 Kostinsky district 97735. 5 Uts of Krasnaya Poliana 4858. In total Greater Sochi 518,589. Economy. Sochi, the large economic center of Krasnodar Krai and Russia. According to the economical geographer Natalia Zubrovich, the city, being the recreational capital, along with the largest industrial centers, acts as the development motor defining prospects and the directions of development of the country. Trade, construction, the resort and tourist sphere are the basis of the economy of Sochi. Its structure for 2015. Retail trade 59%. Construction 15%. Resorts and tourism 11%. The industry 10.6%. Transport 3.5%. And agriculture 0.9%. Sochi acts as one of the basic centers of attraction of a human and financial capital in the country. Investments into the economy for the last 10 years made more than 1.1 trillion rub turnover of medium-sized and large enterprises of Sochi for 2016 made more than 170.8 billion rubles. A turnover gain in comparison with previous year minus 14.2%. Experts highly appreciate a contribution of the city to economy of Russia, often including it in the ratings of development and investment attractiveness. In 2010, Sochi headed the rating of the cities of Russia on quality of life of Urbanica Institute. Experts noted the higher rate of development of the city, large-scale investments in the run-up to the Olympic Games of 2014, a favorable ecological situation and high safety of inhabitants. In 2012, Sochi headed the rating of 30 best cities for business of the Forbes magazine.
In 2014, Sochi took the 5th place in the integrated rating of the largest cities of Russia, reflecting development of the cities in the standard of living.
Tourism. Today, Sochi, the all-season resort of the international level.
In its territory conduct activity of 705 classified means of placement, among them 66 sanatoria, 20 boarding houses and recreation facilities, 1 balneolechebnitsa and 618 hotels,
including 42 new hotels under control of 12 leading world hotel chains, including Swissôtel, Resider, Hyatt, Accor, Marriott, Rixos. 183 beach territories are open, more than 100 tourist objects work, about 70 excursion companies work. In recent years, stable increase in tourist flow is noted. For 2016, Sochi was visited by more than 5.2 million tourists, is 5.9% more than in 2015. The average annual occupancy of hotels remains at the level of 77%, but differs on seasons. The importance of tourism for development of Sochi is defined also by financial receipts from the industry. Statistically, for 2015, tourism revenues were about 30 billion rubles. At the same time, through the whole country, income from the industry was 161 billion rubles.
The tourism industry of the city occupies 18.6% of the amount of total market of the country.
Commodity turnover of retail trade on medium-sized and large enterprises. About 30% of all commodity turnover are the share of it. In the city for 2016 was 57.2 billion rubles. In the territory of the city conduct activity of objects of the consumer sphere, from them. The enterprises of stationary retail trade -5013, catering establishments -1450, wholesale companies -335, the enterprises of the service industry -1083. In Sochi 1807 grocery stores, 2708 non-food shops, 294 shops of the mixed group of goods, 178 truck stores, 16 motor shows, 20 shops at gas station, 945 pavilions and booths are open. Security of the population with floor spaces makes 1106.7 m on 1,000 people. According to 2017, trade turnover in a year per capita in Sochi in 1.75 times more than on average in Russia. 373,527 ruble a year on a person.
At the same time, it exceeds an annual turnover of trade per capita in all million-plus cities. St. Petersburg and Moscow. High turnover of trade is provided both a big flow of tourists and the high average salary in the city. The annual turnover of retail trade formed by permanent residents makes about 96.2 billion rubles. 52%. Tourists form about 87.83 billion rubles of turnover. 48%. Turnover of public catering in the city for 2016 on medium-sized and large enterprises made 7 billion rubles.
About 36% of a total turnover. In Sochi 1450 catering establishments, with the total number of seats minus 90473 are open. The market of paid services to the population in 2016 made 34.3 million rubles. 3,393 people are employed in the industry, and the total number of the enterprises makes 1083. In the city, Zenit Sochi Bank is registered and offices of the leading Russian banks are located. Sberbank in about tens of additional offices: Alfa Bank, Dink Bank, BNN Bank, Vostochny Bank, Gazprom Bank, Intesa Bank, Pervomaysky Bank, Pромsvozbank, Rosebank, Rossik Bank, Russian Standard, Rusfinansov Bank, Uralsib, Unicredit of Bank and others. The center of broker transactions Finam opened. Industry and agriculture. The amount of shipped goods for 2016 on medium-sized and large industrial enterprises of the city was 19,421,000,000 rubles. 11,975,000,000 rubles were the share of distribution of energy, gas and water. Act as the largest enterprises of the industry. Adler Chess and Sochi Thermal Power Plant. 3,370,000,000 rubles were the share of the processing productions. The largest enterprises. Lazarevsky Shipbuilding Shipyard and Mechanical Repair Plant. The amount of shipment of minerals was 76 million rubles. The largest enterprise. Sochi Narad. In manufacturing industry, the overwhelming share is made by the enterprises of food production, of which 92.3% of production volume are the share. Large enterprises. Sochi Meat Processing Plant, Trout Breeding Economy, Quail Farm Seaside, Sochi Bread Baking Complex and Lazarevsky Bakery. The amount of the shipped products of agriculture in 2016 was 49.8 million rubles. Including thermophilic cultures, such as Thasia, Medlar, Kiwi, and flowers. The large agricultural enterprises are engaged in cultivation of vegetables, citrus, fruits. Verlioka, Rising and Victory. The only producer of fowl, Adler Poultry Farm. In Virashivani and processing of tea, 5 enterprises are engaged. Solokosti Tea, Metsesta Tea, Kosta Tea, Shapsik Tea, a number of farmers. Sochi, as well as all Krasnodar Krai, differs in rather inexpensive mobile communication. Several operators of a fixed telephony act in the city for January 2012. Rostelecom, Yatk, Beeline Business Communication, IP Media, Adlernet, Digamis Telecom, Stitcom, Radio Operator, Comster. The largest federal operator of a fixed telephony, Rostelecom, former official partner of the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi in 2014. The Ost Megaphone mobile operator providing communication services in networks 2G, 3G and 4G, the high-speed mobile internet. Up to 15 bit/sec. In the lead network. And also a large number of additional services, among which services of mobile television, navigation, entertainments, specialized services for business of communication and many other things, was a general partner of the Olympic Games in Sochi in 2014. At the market there is a universal telecom operator Just Vimpelcom,
a brand Beeline,
providing a full range of communication services.
Mobile communication
on technology 2G, 3G, WiMAX.
Fixed,
including IP telephony, broadband internet access and digital television. And also several mobile operators. Mobile telesystems. MINTS. Tele in standard 2G/3G/4G and YOTA in elite standard. Numbering of a fixed telephony of Sochi since April 21, 2012, 7-digit, the city code -862. Transport. Sochi, the large transport hub of the south of Russia. The city services Sochi International Airport, 6 railway stations. Sochi, Adler, Lazarevskaya, Kosta, Krasnaya Polyana, Luan, a set of railway platforms for a stop of electric trains. In Sochi 2 seaports. Sochi Sea Trade Port. New Cargo Imereti Port. City transport is provided by generally share taxis, the taxi and buses. The alternative direction, a hire and lease of cars. In Soviet period there was also intracity air transport. Connecting by helicopter line Sochi International Airport with helicopter aerodromes in Krasnaya Polyana, Ibga. And the center of Sochi, helicopter aerodrome on the bank of the river of Sochi behind the Krasnodar ring. Present vegetable wholesale market. It was projected, but the trolleybus was not realized. Due to the elongation of the territory of the city, city passenger traffic is made also by electric trains. Thanks to holding the Winter Olympic Games -2014, the system of the city electric train was developed and modernized.
Though the project of light subway, which is in details developed by the Mostovic company, and the alternative project of network of the high-speed cableway,
the air subway, to realization were not approved. Automobilization. Saturation in motor transport. The city of Sochi, according to official data for 2015. Afterstat is 435 cars on 1,000 inhabitants. A bus/1,000 people. Dynamics of automobilization. 2010, 279 buses/1,000 people. 2011, 298 buses/1,000 people. 2012, 446 buses/1,000 people. 2013, 452 buses/1,000 people. 2014, 323 buses/1,000 people. 2015, 435 buses/1,000 persons. For reduction of the movement of transit motor transport through the downtown, built the bypass road. Also the Arboretum has 2 funiculars and 3 cableways. Sanatorium, Dawn and Neva boarding house. Also there are several cableways in Krasnaya Polyana. From pipeline transport, the 172-kilometer branch of the Dubovka, Lazarevsky, Sochi gas pipeline opened on June 7, 2011 in the presence of the Russian Prime Minister 5. V. route in which 90% of length pass under the Black Sea parallel to the coast is considered the main thing. Funiculars. In Sochi 2 funiculars were constructed. Funicular of Sanatorium, Sochi, and Funicular of Sanatorium of Ordzhonikidze.
Any another, however, are not public transport as are intended for service of exclusively having a rest-relevant sanatoria.
Now only the funicular of Sanatorium, Sochi, works. The line of Sanatorium of Ordzhonikidze is not used, is abandoned. Science and education. In Sochi more than 70 high comprehensive schools. Except branches of the known capital higher education institutions, in Sochi there are own higher educational institutions, also having federal importance. Sochi State University. Russian International Olympic University. Sochi Institute of People's Friendship University of Russia. International Innovation University. Sochi Institute of a Fashion, Business and Right. Sochi Sea Institute. Sochi branch of the Russian State Social University. Sochi branch of the All-Russian State University of Justice. Sochi branch of the Moscow New Legal Institute. Sochi branch of the Russian University of Transport. Sochi branch of the ADG State University. Average special educational institutions. Economical and Technology College at Sochi State University. College of Arts. College of Polycultural Education. Medical College. Professional Technical School. Cuban Legal College. Sochi Financial and Legal College. Sochi Humanitarian and Economic College. Automobile and Road College. Science. Sochi is irreplaceable for the Russian science from the geographical and climatic points of view. The only subtropics in Russia are actively used as base for scientific research in the field of botany, medicine, balneology and seaside construction. Except the higher educational institutions developing science in Sochi, there is a number of research establishments of the all-Russian value. Sochi Research Center of the Russian Academy of Sciences. Research Institute of Medical Primatology of the Russian Academy of Medical Science. Research Institute of Mountain Forestry and Ecology of the Wood of M. Pieter of the Russian Federation. All-Russian Research Institute of Floriculture and Subtropical Cultures of Russian Academy of Agrarian Sciences. Research Center of Balneology and Rehabilitation. Sochi Office of the Russian Geographical Society. Culture and Art. Theaters, concert halls. The Sochi Symphonic Orchestra, Oleg Soldatov and Johann Baysteiner in concert time in the Hall of Chamber and Organ Music, on December 13, 2013. Winter Theater. Concert Hall, Festival. Summer Theater. Open Air Theater of the Riviera Park. Sochi Hall of Chamber and Organ Music. In the Hall of Chamber and Organ Music, the Sochi Symphonic Orchestra and other famous actors often act. Sochi Circus. Festivals, tenders. Open Russian Kinotavr Film Festival. International Contest of Young Contractors, New Wave. International Festival of Jazz Music Akvatas. Fashion Festival Velvet Seasons. International Tender Festival of Creativity for Children and Young People, Winter Riviera. The International Summer Festival, Legends of Retro FM, organized by Retro FM radio station and Cuban 24 TV channel. Museums and other cultural institutions. Art Museum, Ethnographic Museum, Literary and Memorial Museum of N.A. Ostrovsky, Historical Museum of Sochi, Oceanarium of Sochi, Discovery World Aquarium, Atrush Dolphinarium, Branch the Sochi Dolphinarium.
All libraries of the city, district, children's, youthful and residential districts are united in the centralized library system of the city of Sochi, with the directed book distribution regulated by the Sochi Library Collector.
Main libraries of Sochi: Central City Library, Library of A.S. Pushkin, Adler District Library, Costa District Library, Lazarevsky District Library. Religion. In the city, more than 30 temples and chapels of Russian Orthodox Church.
On December 28, 2018, determination of the Sacred Synod of Rock formed the Sochi Diocese in administrative borders of the municipal unit of the resort town of Sochi and Tupsinsky district of Krasnodar Krai. In 2019, by holiday of the triumph of Orthodoxy, the most Saint Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia Kirill signed the decree on assimilation to the temple of the Saint Grand Duke Vladimir, equal to the apostles of the city of Sochi, of the status of the Cathedral of the Sochi Diocese.
Considerable part of parishioners of the only Catholic temple of Saint Apostles Simon and Fadi is made by Armenian Catholic, natives of Maskiti. The second largest part of adherents of Roman Catholic faith, natives from Ukraine and from Belarus, the having Polish roots, etc. There are Roman Catholic receipts in Adler and Lazarevsky. The main part of the Armenian population, adherents of the Armenian Apostolic Church. In Sochi, the center of the Armenian Vikuni Diocese, uniting 4 receipts in the territory of the city, is located.
One of the main questions in life of the Muslim community of Sochi of the last years, construction of the big cathedral mosque in the downtown.
This problem is relevant for 5% of inhabitants of Sochi. Adi.
Adaigs, Shapsigs, Kabardians, Tatars, Azerbaijanians, Turks.
The existing mosque in the All of Tigagap Small is also remote for most of parishioners.
At the beginning of 2008, the agreement with the sponsor from the United Arab Emirates is reached upon assignment for construction in Sochi in the residential district of Bikha of the Cathedral Mosque.
The head of the Sochi Muslims, said Kurbanov. In 2008, the rabbi of Sochi, Uri Edelkopf, held consultations with Semyon Weinstock on construction in Sochi of a synagogue and the Jewish communal center for inhabitants of the Black Sea coast. At the time of the Usr in Sochi, positions of the Baptist community were quite strong. Presently, activity of Protestants was considerably stirred up. There were new receipts of evangelical Christians, Seventh-day Adventist Church, New Apostolic Church. Architecture. Unlike other historical settlements of the Northwest Caucasus, the architectural and town planning heritage of Sochi is created, mostly, due to constructions of the Soviet period.
During the period before World War II, Sochi Metesta Resort in very short time became the largest health resort of nationwide value that was promoted by adoption of the Master Plan of Reconstruction of the city, on the basis of which numerous objects of sanatorium value are constructed and infrastructure is considerably expanded.
Since the end of the 1920th until the end of the 1930th years and in post-war time, the architectural appearance of Sochi was formed by forces of the architects, most famous in the country. On both sides of Kurorti Avenue. On the site more than 30 kilometers long. The dynamic composition of architectural complexes in which high-rise dominance on heights of air relief, terraces on slopes and sea facades, prevailed is created. The Sochi architecture combines not numerous bright works of eclecticism and a modernist style and the Soviet architecture, works of constructivism, the Soviet neoclassicism, historical styles, mostly as a part of multi-level palace ensembles.
The first wave of town planning in Sochi fell on a turn of the 19th-20th centuries and is connected with the project of the Emperor Nicholas II, owing to which on money of the nobility and merchants the resort, Caucasian Riviera, is under construction.
Folding of a peculiar town planning architecture inherent only in the Black Sea resorts fell on this period. Distribution was gained by the European modernist style fashionable at the time, in which elements of fortifications and locks were guessed. On foreign and Russian projects in Sochi, numerous country houses are built. In particular, one of the oldest examples -5, a Ludolf's Dacha, recreated today in the city Riviera Park. Built in 1896 on the project of the Moscow architect 50. N. Kekashev. In 1902-1903 on the project of the architect R. 1.
Budnik A.W.
Jacobson's Dacha, the building of a Fachwerkhof design having an appearance of the romantic lock, is built. In 1910 the Sochi city head and A. Kostarev built a brick country house, Belief, the building in style of the eclecticism, allocating it from a general series of surrounding buildings.
The second wave of construction fell on the 1930th years when in Sochi began to build the resort for workers, having invested in construction enormous for those times 1,400,000,000 rubles.
Stalin classicism finds development in the city, the famous architect's work. Vladimir Shuko, Alexei Shusev, Ivan Zoltovsky, Brothers Vesnin, K. Chernopiatov, Ivan Kuznetsov, Karo Labian, Alexei Dushkin, P. Askov. In 1934 the first master plan of reconstruction of the city of Sochi is accepted.
In same the period occurs building of government giving 1.
Stalin in Novum Natsist. The complex of buildings was built on the project of the architect M. Mirzanov in 1937. In 1935 the road to Mount Akan, at which top, at the height of 660 meters, on the project of the architect S. 1. Verbaev, the 30-meter survey tower in style of Trevnezvonsky Waters, which today, a monument of architecture and town planning, is built, is constructed.
In a short time such engineering constructions as Riviersky Bridge, Vereshchiginsky and Matsesta viaducts, monuments of civil architecture, are built.
During the same period built such architectural monuments of Sochi as the Sochi Art Museum and Winter Theatre. In 1936 the construction of the Sochi Trunk Main, Stalin Avenue is completed. Nowadays Kurorti Avenue, which connects sanatorium and residential massifs. On both sides of the highway monumental buildings in style neoclassicism are built. During the period from 1934 to 1939, 19 sanatoria, widely known, similar to palaces, are constructed. Primary di Pravda, a Goldier of SM. Kirov of Sergo or Zunikidze, of Franz, of Fabritius, of Voroshilov, Metallurgist, Spark, and others. Sport. As the applicant for holding the Olympic Winter Games the first time of Sochi proposed the candidature in 1994, the second time in 1998. The third attempt in 2007 was crowned with success. A large number of hotels and political support, the main arguments which gave to this city advantage before other candidates. Sochi became the first city with subtropical climate where played the Winter Olympic Games. The Olympic Winter Games took place in Sochi from February 7 to February 23, 2014. The Paralympic Winter Games took place from March 7 to March 16, 2014. For holding games within 5-6 years constructed a set of the sporting and infrastructure facilities located in 2 clusters. Coastal and mountain.
In mountains near Krasnaya Polyana there took place mountain skiing competitions, 2 cross-country skiing, biathlon, a snowboard, freestyle, ski jumping, bobsled, luge and skeleton.
On the bank of the Black Sea in Emeritinsky Valley, in the Olympic Park which is specially built to the Olympic Games and sports constructions located in its territory, there took place the official opening ceremonies and closings of the Olympic and Paralympic Games and also hockey, speed skating, figure skating, curling, short track competitions. In October 2010, the agreement on carrying out the Grand Prix of Formula One of Russia in Sochi in 2014 is signed. The first race F took place at the beginning of October 2014 until the agreement is signed till 2020. Route Formula One is built in the Olympic Park of Sochi. Its project was developed by Herman Tilke. In Sochi, team professional sports are also developed. The football club, Zhemchuna, acted in the first division of Russia, but as a result because of the shortage of finance, the handball club of the same name, the bronze prize winner of the Championship of Russia 2007. And silver, the prize winner of the Championship of Russia U-23 2010. Was removed from the championship in 2011 and also the team has a set of titles at the regional level. Sochi Group acts in the first league since 2010. In 2014 in Sochi, the professional ice hockey team, AIK Sochi, acting in the Continental Hockey League, is formed. In 2014 in Adlersky district, the Park of Extreme Air Adventures Sky Park IH Hackett Sochi began to work. On February 22, 28, 2017 in the city played the 3 Winter Military World Games. In 3 years which passed after the Olympic Games, from 2014 to 2016, Sochi hosted 324 sporting events of various level both on summer and on winter sports. In 2014 there took place 71 actions, in 2015, 94 and in 2016, 159 actions, taking into account regional and regional events -207. Based on Dynamo Club from Street Petersburg is created 2018, the football club of Sochi acting in the Premier League. After the Olympic Games, the main sports arena of the city first left on reconstruction as Sochi became one of 11 cities of hosts of the Championship of the World. Now the stadium meets the requirements of FIFA for holding matches of the international level. The Festival of Fans was open for fans of soccer at Yuzhno-Gomula Square of the Sochi seaport. The site was open in all days of the World Cup. At a festival, the spectator zone, a technical zone, a zone of an exhibition of commercial partners and sponsors were organized. The site is equipped by all necessary for physically disabled people. B-sides are equipped. A scenic complex, the screen for viewing of matches, objects of public catering, the playground, information tent. International and inter-regional relations. From July 6 to July 16, 2016 in Sochi played the 9 World Choral Games, and in the same 2016 the city is chosen as the venue of the 19 World Festival of Youth and Students of 2017. Since 1966 ranks, Honorable Citizen of Sochi, are awarded about 30 people.
In 1937 Boris Ilyodorovich Rosinsky is elected the Honorable Pioneer of the resort town of Sochi.
City Awards. The city of Sochi forbidden dedicated work of workers of the city on treatment and recovery of health of soldiers of the Soviet Army and Navy in days of the Great Patriotic War is awarded the order by the decree of Presidium of the Supreme Council of the SA of May, 1980 Patriotic War of the degree. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.